Hey guys, Cynthia Sarmiento here. How are you tonight? So it's Tuesday night. I'm back to doing an online live broadcast on Tuesday nights, and just want to kind of come to a culmination with all of the information I've been putting out there about the race, and wanted to follow up to my last live post where I talked about the vote counting and that type of thing. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the real deal about vote counting in Adams County. And I want to share with you the information that I received after I started making contacts and following up after my last broadcast to you, and after having received the cure letter in the mail from Adams County. So just, like I said, when I posted last time to you guys, I said, hey, it's so important that every vote counts. And I want to make sure every vote counts. Of course, wanted my vote to count. So to follow up tonight, I'm just going to tell you everything that I found out. I think this is information that a lot of people don't have. It's information, obviously, that even a lot of candidates don't have. And so I spoke to a manager at Adams County Elections today to find out what was going on. And after I posted last time, I had some people contact me and ask me very directly some questions like, how do they know it's your ballot, and how does your ballot stay confidential if they're sending you a cure letter? What is the 80% of precincts reported that's in a lot of the news and reporting information mean? How does that work? Why are we having so many cure letters, etc.? So I asked all of these questions and more, and here's what I found out. First of all, with regard to my cure letter, that was sent to me incorrectly. And I'll explain to you how and why and what the result is. But needless to say, I was able to verify today that my ballot actually was counted, and I didn't need to make a cure. And here's why. So when the ballots come in to Adams County, they start scanning ballots, and they go through 3 steps of identification. The first being computer. The computer looks at it and sees if it can identify the signature and verify the person's identity. If the computer can't verify it, then it goes to human beings, and human beings start to look at it and verify it and see if they can look at it and say, yes, this looks like it matches. That's like all the first step. The second step of it is, and then it goes to like a next level. And then if they need, then they get a bipartisan team involved. Then they can compare it to every signature they've ever collected from you through voting, DMV, and a number of other different things, etc. So the cure letters are not supposed to go out until it's gone through the second level of review. So during this primary, their system had a complete glitch, and it sent cure letters out as soon as the computer looked at it and said it couldn't verify it. So what happened is the letters went out, and then it went to the next step of verification where human beings look at it, and they were like, oh yeah, it's great, go ahead, count that ballot. But yet the letters had already gone out. So there are a lot of people out there, like myself, who received a cure letter whose vote actually has already been counted. And you can very easily verify that by calling the elections office. They'll look it up and they'll tell you. Tomorrow's the last day to cure. You can fax, you can text, you can take a picture on your phone. There's all kinds of ways to instantaneously get the cure over to them if you're concerned about still making sure that your vote counts. So that's number 1. Number 2, I was told that anybody at any time, if they like, can go and take a tour of the elections office and the facility and see the process and learn about that. You just have to call. They are only open Tuesday through Friday. They're not there on Mondays. I'm not sure of the reasoning for that. I don't know if it's a budgetary issue or what, but they are there, and I was told that you can have a tour. The second thing I want to address is the information about how many precincts have reported, because you look on the news stations and all these different sources, they say, 70% reported, 80% reported, 96% reported. So in essence, what the manager at the elections office told me is that information is just, it's nothing. It means absolutely nothing in today's world. And she's not sure what news stations and other sources are using to justify those numbers. And of course, I personally plan to look forward into that to find out what they're using to justify those numbers, because I think that it's frightening to think that we are being fed information that is bogus, according to the officials who are actually in the elections office. It wouldn't be the first time we're being fed bogus information, obviously. But when it comes to elections and votes, it's a pretty serious thing. So it would be nice if we could figure out where this information is coming from. So it's an old school way of reporting things. And in the past, before all the mail-in ballots, before all the drop boxes, before all of that, where you had to go to your polling place and then all of the votes were gathered in each precinct or at each polling place, right? And the votes were actually segregated by precinct. Those numbers did in effect mean something, because it was kind of like, okay, the person in charge of that precinct or that voting poll would get all the information together and basically give it to the elections office. And that whole group of stuff would be counted at one time. So that is a thing. It's a thing of the past, basically, is what she said. So that's gone. So eventually I'll let you know what I find out about why are news stations and why are the different reporting pieces of information conveying information that's potentially just doesn't make sense at all. Then I want to address the issue of how do we keep the results of ballots confidential when they are in the cure process. Because if my envelope is set aside, right, in a little box, whatever, I don't know if that's how it really happens, right? But let's assume like they take my ballot and they're like, okay, this is one that needs a letter and we need to verify the signature. They set it aside in a little box or whatever they do with it. And then my letter comes in and they go, okay, hers looks good now. And then they were to take it out of the envelope and scan it, right? Clearly, they would be putting my ballot and my name right next to each other. And so it destroys the anonymity of my vote. So what they do is they hold back ballots. When they get the first batch of ballots, and they do the major scanning in the beginning, they hold back hundreds of ballots, okay? They hold back hundreds of ballots, and then as they're getting cure letters, they don't cure them instantly. They get a batch of them. And let's say they held back 600 ballots from the first go-around. And then let's say they had 50 cures or 20 cures, whatever it is. They take those and they shuffle them all up, mix them all in with the like 100 to 150 of the 600 ballots that they had held back, and then they scan a batch, and they do that each time so that they can keep the anonymity of the people whose ballots are in the cure process. Now, this is what I've been told by the manager in the elections office. She was very knowledgeable and she was very willing to share the information with me. I'm just simply passing it on to you because I think it's important for us to have an understanding of the way that they're doing things. And at minimum, what we are told is being done to protect our anonymity, to make sure our votes are counted, etc. Also, to address the information that I was told about July 22nd, well, of course, that is the absolute deadline to certify the election. But tomorrow is the deadline for cures. Thursday is the deadline that they have for having all ballots scanned. So every ballot must be scanned by Thursday. Friday, they begin their audit. Once their audit is done, goes through the final process. All of that must be done by the 22nd, and that's when the certification process happens. So those are kind of the deadlines. Tomorrow's not only the deadline for curing, but it's also the deadline for like overseas military ballots and things like that. And then Thursday, they will be working to get every single last ballot counted before audit starts on Friday. So there you go. That's what I found out. I think it was interesting information. And I know that there's always questions about, is the counting process, is it valid? Is it good? Are they doing it right? Are they suppressing? Are they cheating? There's always questions about that, guys. And there's no process that is perfect. Of course, we all know that. And, but just knowing this information, I think, is helpful in order to kind of know what to expect and why things are happening the way that they are. So wanted to just address all of that. I do encourage you, please, if you received a cure letter, please make sure you follow up tomorrow. You still have all day tomorrow to get that done, or you can call and it's potentially, don't even have to turn that in because they have in fact counted your vote. Now, the last thing I want to say is that she also shared with me that there are a number of different people who have told her staff, and that she has found out on a regular basis, they alter their signature on their ballot almost every time they turn it in so that they will receive a cure letter because they want to test the system to see if it's working and to see if they're checking those signatures and identity. So, I think that is up to everybody's prerogative about doing that. I certainly think there's a potential risk in making sure that your ballot is getting counted if you're doing things like that. But if you are someone who feels like that's important, I would also encourage you to go take that tour and do those things as well. So it is each one of our rights to vote. It is our right to vote in the way we want, in the way we see fit. And everyone has to satisfy themselves with regard to the integrity of the system in whatever way they need to move forward. Of course, I know that the elections office doesn't necessarily appreciate that because they, they don't want to do the extra work when there's a lot going on. And I'm not saying that necessarily in a negative light, but it is a lot of extra work to do cures. And so, that's their opinion on that. The last thing is if you receive a cure letter, please do follow up one way or the other. Even if you're like, I'm over it. The election was over a week ago. I don't care. I'm irritated now, whatever it is. Please still cure it so that your signature is solidified with them and you don't have any of this problem in November. So I still encourage you to follow up with that. Okay. All right. Well, as this race has come to a culmination, just want to let everybody know where I'm going and what's happening and my next steps and what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to continue to have a weekly broadcast, continue working toward my goals. Don't necessarily have to be in office to accomplish a lot of those. I believe that with the following I have and the accomplishments I've made so far this year, have a wonderful opportunity to continue to move forward to help our party, to help get people into office who are going to support our values, to help affect change, to build our base, a lot of the things that I have already committed to doing. In my efforts to do that, I have volunteered to become part of the Adams County Republican Executive Committee, the ACRC Executive Committee, and take on a role to volunteer there. There are also other candidates out there who supported me and collaborated with me during the primaries, and I want to continue to support them, some of our countywide candidates as well. It's so important that we continue to help those people move forward. So I'm going to be doing that. Right now, because of scheduling issues, I'm not sure if my broadcast will continue on Tuesdays. It will either be on Tuesdays or Thursdays, just depending on what else is going on with some of the things that I'll be involved in. But I will make sure to announce that. And once I determine what that schedule will be over the next week, then it'll be consistent again after that. And I'm going to kind of keep you on edge and surprised with some of the things that I'm doing, but just really looking forward to continuing to move forward toward making a better Colorado and bringing common sense to things, building our base, helping our party, and move forward. Would love to see people continue to join me. And I have a team of folks who are really supportive, want to continue to work on these projects with me. I'm so excited that that is happening. and just can't wait to move forward. So I'm going to sign off for tonight. Want to thank anyone who was here. I'm going to double check for any last minute comments. Okay, I don't see anything, but I will archive this as usual and blast it out there to everybody. Please continue to watch my Facebook page. And right now, just keep up the good work. If you've been following, if you've been promoting, if you've been helping candidates, and you're working toward helping our state get a stronghold back with the right values. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.